It's hard to be a farmer. It's a very risky business, but if you know what you're doing, it can pay off in full.
And Tanner Mellon would know. The 19-year-old is in his 4th year of farming on a ranch he started all on his own.
You said all of this started through an FFA project, right?
Yes, an FFA, you have to have a project that you do all throughout your 4 years. And so I chose to do this with the help of my father, my grandfather.
But Mellon says only half of his time is actually spent in the field because it took a lot just to get the farm started.
$60,000 bank loan, which I paid off in the first 2 years. And so then after that, I started making the money after that.
Mellon says his FFA Ag Business class helped him with the paperwork side of the farm, and it wasn't always easy.
It was a little discouraging for a little bit, just seeing that I wasn't making any profit, but I knew by the end, this wasn't just like a 1-year project, this was a 4 year, so I had to work it out all 4 years, and I just kept going to just build it as big as I could get it before I could graduate this year. That was kind of my goal, to see how big this could get.
So how many acres do you have total, and how many did you start with?
Right now I have 124 acres.
Okay.
So I have these 54 acres here, which I started with, and I also have some on the north end of the valley, and I have another 20 acres on the mesa.
Mellon says having this farm isn't just about what's growing in the field, it's also about growing himself and his family.
I'm a 4th generation farmer, and so my great-grandpa came here as a pilot to help train pilots for World War II, and then when he came here, he decided to settle down here and start getting into farming.
From there, the legacy grew. Mellon's grandfather carried on the tradition, making the farm into a business. That has continued today through his children and now grandchildren.
How did you feel whenever you actually saw all the work that you put into this and then saw it come up in the form of these plants?
That's one of the best feelings you can ever have, seeing all of the work you've put in so far and just getting that first cutting, even if it's not the best cutting, which it wasn't the best cutting. I remember seeing my first cutting and being so proud to be able to sell that and say that was mine. I grew that, I'm selling that, and I'm getting the money for that. It's a very rewarding experience to see that firsthand.
After high school, Mellon plans to continue his education and run for state FFA office.
I want to help encourage people to look at agriculture in a different light. It's not necessarily just these farms that people drive by every single day. There's much more to agriculture than meets the eye.
But then he says he'll be back here on the farm to carry out his family tradition.
Growing up in agriculture, I've seen how important it is to the world, and so it's almost a coming of age. What you do now is going to be important 30 years from now, whether you think it or not. Don't be afraid to take on responsibility, because it'll help grow you personally. And if you're not going to take it on, who else is?
This Homegrown segment is brought to you by the University of Arizona, Yuma.